Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I pulled out the sketches with 4x6 photos only. This was a Facebook group a while ago that Scrapbook Generations put on. I'm going to be using sketch number 9, option number 12. I pulled out this Bella Boulevard Alex kit, and I knew that I only had a couple of pieces left, so I also pulled out Bella Boulevard's Carson collection, but I was actually able to get a majority of this layout completed with Alex. I have a few more pieces that are left in Alex, and I will probably just add it to Carson, but I was super excited that I was able to use up quite a bit of it. These photos are of Eli from a couple of years ago. My grandfather had gotten him a little toy keyboard to play with. It had a little microphone, and I went into Eli's bedroom and he was just laying on the floor on his beanbag, just rocking out with this keyboard. So I pulled out my camera and just snapped a few pictures. We do not have musical talent in this family, so it definitely wasn't the most beautiful music that I had ever heard, but I was really excited that he was just playing with the keyboard. So on the right hand side, it does call for 4 photos. The option that I'm using actually calls for it to add 4x6 photos, but I didn't want it to go from the top to bottom, so I was able to cut down my photos to 4x5, and I like doing that with my photos. When I have full-size photos, it just gives it a little bit of breathing room. I did pull out my Doodlebug Petite prints because I wanted to add a kind of solid piece of paper. The paper that I use from the Alex collection has all of these different types of headphones on them. The background paper is blue, but then the headphones have yellow and orange and green, and so I do add a little bit of those colored accents, but I felt like the yellow was the most predominant color in that paper, so I wanted to use the Doodlebug Petite prints in yellow as well. I added the Swiss dots to the left hand side, and I'm gonna have my favorite photo of him. He just looks like he's so engrossed in this keyboard. Looks like he's just very determined, and I really like that photo. On either side of the yellow paper, it does call for a 1/4 inch strip. So I did cut down one of the border strips. It is white and it has all of the colors on it, and I really like the contrast of that white stripe against the blue and the yellow. I went ahead and laid my photos flat to the background piece. This layout is going to come together pretty quickly because I have such large photos. I have 5 4x6 photos. Now I did cut them down to 4x5, but I do have large photos on my layout, and when I do that, the photos are definitely the focal point of the layout, and even though I'm going to add quite a bit of embellishments to it, I really wanted the photos to shine. Over on the right hand side, I did go ahead and add that blue paper, and then I pulled out my T-square ruler and my X-Acto knife just to trim it up a little bit since I didn't cut it the right size. And then I start to assemble the left hand side of the layout. Of course, I didn't get the blue paper straight, so I did have to pull it up just a little bit, but it did not take much to get it straight. I then added the yellow piece down as well as the blue piece on the left hand side of the layout. I was recently talking to Nicole over at Collie Being, and we had talked about my style, and this is definitely my style. Like, blocks of paper and blocks of photos is definitely what I am drawn to when I'm looking at sketches or when I'm thinking about creating a layout, and this definitely is absolutely my style with these blocks of papers. I did have to pull out my T-square ruler and my X-Acto knife to trim down the yellow paper as well as the blue paper. It does not matter how many times I measure and think that I'm cutting the exact same size. When I go to cut something, it is never the same size. It's always like a 1/4 inch off or so. So I really do enjoy using that X-Acto knife and T-square ruler to just trim off the little pieces. I then added the 1/4 inch strips. I think they're actually closer to like a 1/2 inch strip because they're a little bit thicker. And then this is where the fun begins. The sketch actually calls for 3 rows of hearts over on the left hand side with some stitching. And I thought, why not switch out those hearts for music notes? So I just found some music notes online. I traced them in my silhouette and I cut them out in this like black matte paper. And I'm going to spend quite a bit of time arranging these music notes. I have 4 different style music notes or things that would belong on a sheet of music. I'm, again, not musically inclined. So these music notes could be Mary Had a Little Lamb, or they could be something not appropriate. But I'm just gonna go with it. I was really just trying to kind of fit things in. I did cut them out in different sizes. Basically what I did on my silhouette was just group them together, copied and pasted them, made them a little bit smaller, copied and pasted that, made it a little bit smaller, and I just went into some different sizes. So once I got the arrangement down that I thought I would like, I am going to use this technique that Nicole told me about. It's one of those things that I am just amazed that I didn't think of it before, but I definitely want to give credit to Nicole over at Collie Bean for using my silhouette mat to pick up all of these pieces. And then I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to the back of it. So I was able to place all of these items down, pick them up, put the adhesive on them, and then put them back down on my layout. I did go very slowly while I was pulling the mat up just to make sure that everything was stuck down, because I did use some liquid adhesive, and so it does take a little bit for it to dry. But I was able to pick up everything, and there was only one that didn't make it on the layout. And so that one was an easy fix. But I am just so thankful for Nicole for giving me this technique. It really was a time saver. I decided that the photo on the left needed to be matted on some white cardstock. So I just pulled out some white scrap of paper and my layering guides and created a nice little border around my photos. I did also decide that the photo needed to be popped up on fun foam just to give it a little separation from all those music notes on the left-hand side. I thought for the right-hand side of the layout, I was going to add just a couple of music notes over on the very far right-hand side. The sketch does call for a couple of hearts over there as well, so I thought, why not add a couple of music notes? So I just pulled out 3 that I thought worked really well together, and I added it to the edge of the blue paper. The sketch does call for the hearts to be on the photos and the blue paper in between that, but I felt like they were getting lost because they were so dark. I then pulled out the sticker sheet from Bella Boulevard, and I was able to find this little tab that had a music note on it as well as these little circle tabs that have music notes too. So I just added one to the right and then one right above the photo on the left. I found a word phrase that said chillin', and I added that over to the right. And then I'm just looking through the sticker sheet trying to find some other pieces. I found a sticker that has a little music note on it, but then I decided that I would work on my title. I actually did a Google search of a music layout and tried to find some titles. I was on a Zoom call with Nicole during this time, and I actually called Eli in, and we had chosen a couple of different titles, and I asked him which one he liked the best, and this is what he chose. B sharp or B flat, never be boring. So for the letter B, I used a thicker that is black with silver polka dots, and then I used a freckled font that's like the orange color that you don't see it a lot. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but some of the headphones have some orange accent to it. And then I pulled out my Simple Stories color vibe to use the tile stickers for the words or and never. And I did put those up on the scrapbook.com foam adhesive strips to give them a little bit of dimension as well. And I will tell you that this is probably one of my favorite titles. It's just a perfect title for this layout. There's nothing really important in these photos. They were just cute photos of Eli, and I feel like this is a message that I can leave to him. I'm so glad that he helped me with the process of picking out the title for this layout. I did start to look through the embellishments from the Bella Boulevard Carson collection, and I was able to find a music note, and I added that above the title. I also pulled in a green heart from the Alex collection, and then I also added these arrows, but they don't end up making it to the final layout. I decided that I wanted to bring in another music note in that area, so I just used one of the ones that I cut out and added it right next to the green heart. And then I also decided that I was going to add one more little tab that has music notes on it, and those music notes are backwards, but it doesn't bother me that they're not in the right order. Over on the left-hand side, I did also add an orange music note, as well as a green arrow, and then a gray heart. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I did do my journaling offline, and it says, Eli received this keyboard from Granddaddy as a Christmas gift. He played it enthusiastically, but the sound revealed a different story about his skills. I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and once again, give a big shout out to Nicole over at Collie Bean for that silhouette mat trick. It is definitely one that I'm going to have to remember for future layouts. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.